importance of a good job. This problem, being able to get our exports to Asia, these dry bulk commodities, is a matter of national interest. And we were able to brief Secretary Locke on this, and the governor's very supportive. But we've got to build a terminal at Cherry Point that can accommodate these commodities, or they will continue to come through here, and they'll go out through Canada, or they'll go out through Mexico, and it'll be higher cost for our producers, and we'll get everything but jobs. So here's the punchline. This project is about ready to launch, to go through a 2-year permitting process. It's a full federal and state EIS process. And that's an expedited process. 2 years. It'll cost the company about $20 million just to go through the process. And never know whether they're going to get their permits. But this will be led by the Army Corps of Engineers, and it'll start up pretty soon. There'll be all kinds of opportunity for public input. Here's what it would mean for our community. First of all, if they can get through this process and get the permits, they'll have to prove their environmental practices and build. This will be the most modern shipping terminal in the country. It will mean a 2-year construction period that will create about 4,000 jobs. There'll be about 17, well, let me say what the size of the project is. It's a $400 to $500 million construction project over 2 years. Now, there aren't very many of those. You can check several states, and you won't find many projects like this. Privately funded, not taxpayer funded. And those don't come around very often. So it's a $400 to $500 million construction project. There will be about 1,700 direct jobs, and then the multiplier effect creates another 1,300 plus jobs in the economy. So we're talking about a boost of about 4,000 jobs. Now, what kind of jobs are we talking about? All union jobs on that construction project. SSA Marine is an all-union company, and there's great labor support for this from the state, local. You can explain all that, but this is a fully unionized company, and they've committed to a union construction project. And so we've got 34% of our construction workers are out of work right now. So we're hammered. I mean, we're really hurt. And we've lost about 1,700 industrial jobs over the last several years. This is the lowest it's been in 20 years, our industrial type employment. It used to be 24% of our employment base, and it's now 17% of our employment base. So we really had a decline in high wage, which explains why our average hourly wage is $4 an hour less than the state average. And our per capita income is 20% less than the state average. We're declining. Our standard of living is declining in this county. If you're doing well, maybe you don't feel it, but if you're not one of the fortunate ones, you see what's happening. So we have a dire need for high wage employment. The average, for the typical longshoreman, these will be longshore jobs, a lot of them, starts at $35 an hour, plus remarkable benefits. In fact, I'm hoping I can sign on.
Too short.
Too short. Probably too old. But, and last year, the average SSA employee in Washington made $75,000. So these are high-wage jobs, the kind we can't get our hands on anymore. This will raise per capita income in Washington. It's not going to drive population growth that much, but it'll raise per capita income of the people who are here. And again, I don't mean to sound like I'm a nut when I talk about heavy industry, but heavy industry does a remarkable thing. It sits on one footprint, heavily regulated environmentally. Insurance, jobs, and taxes over and over and over again. It doesn't create sprawl. Half of, look at all the buffered lands out there. That's a remarkable area. And half of this project will remain in buffer. Kind of like what the other industries do. Okay, what happens after construction? So that'd be a big boost. After construction, there will be about 1,500 jobs created permanently in the economy. About 250 to 300 directly at the terminal, and then another 700 or so. If this isn't add up, it's because the numbers are in that brochure and I'm not looking at it. But about another 700 or so service providers to the terminal that do repair work and maintenance, other things out there. And then those workers, they're spending, because they're employed, create another 400 jobs in the county. So you're looking at about 1,500 ongoing new jobs in the economy of Whatcom County. That's a big damn deal, as one person said. And would be really, I think, provide us some hope for an upside in getting out of this economic stall that we're in. So that's kind of the picture. I'm very excited about this. It's not very often that you get to work on something in the 80s and try to envision as a county council member what should be, and then come around, 25 years later and actually be able to say, well, wow, this really could happen. This could really happen. Now, there will be people who are against it. Issues regarding the herring have to be resolved, but that's pretty much been resolved. The science on the herring is pretty conclusive from NOAA and other impartial entities like the Department of Fish and Wildlife that industrial activity doesn't seem to be affecting the herring. In fact, the herring quit spawning at Point Roberts and Lummi Island, places like that, and where they still spawn is around those piers. So herring are being affected, but not by industrial development. It's something else. It's probably climate change or predators. And the herring spend about, these particular herring, there's about 40 different species. These particular herrings spend about 2% of their life at Cherry Point, and then I guess they go there, do their business, and then move on. But, so the herring issue, I'm confident, will be resolved, and the company's gone to an extreme effort to make sure the herring aren't disrupted. There's no eelgrass that will be disturbed. They've studied for a whole year how the sun creates shading and have placed the pier in relation to where the sun, affects it, so that they can minimize the amount of shading to any marine life or any activity. So that, I think,